Hey everyone, welcome back to Bucky's Customs. Hey, if you've been a subscriber of Bucky's Customs since the beginning, you probably have seen the video of me making a kind of a rustic looking sign for the shop. And it happens to be this one here. Now I proudly display this on my wall here in the shop because, you know, this goes back to the beginning when I first started and didn't have a CNC machine and didn't have the ability to carve something like this. But today I'm gonna attempt to recreate this sign a little bit closer to maybe what my logo looks like with my Sienci Labs Longmill, and I'm going to show you all how I did it, so stay with us. Hey, before we get started today, I just want to say thank you to this week's sponsor, Sienci Labs, the makers of the Longmill benchtop CNC, just like the one we're going to be using today. Okay, I think I found the board that I'm going to use. It's fairly flat, it's got a little hump in the middle of it, but I might be able to cut it out. I moved the panel. I had some holes in it. We can cut that out. Let's see what the dimensions of this would be. Oh yeah, plenty big enough. Plenty big enough. So fairly flat. And we're going to paint this board. It's not that big a deal. I want it kind of rustic. So the main thing is that we'll be able to clamp it enough to make it flat in the mill. So, all right, let's cut this to size that we want, and we will go from there. Okay, you notice in my mill, I use a clamping system that is a little bit different. I use side pressure and wedge them with this backer board, which I can move back and forth by way of this T-track. So I'm going to stick it in here and see what the chances of that really being an issue is going to be. It's sticking up a little bit. We may have to change this a little bit because I've got those reliefs cutting in there, and if I put on my wedge right there, it might loosen this board. So maybe I'll just put a spacer in here, short piece of cherry here that I can use. I'll just put that right there, and we'll wedge it that way. And this doesn't have to be straight. My OCD sometimes kicks in, but we'll be good with this, I would assume. There. Cannot move this. It's down flat. This is not going to move. Okay, we are going to open Carveco. We use the maker version, and we're going to open a new model. Now, I want this to be exactly the size of our piece of wood, and that's what I did there. My start point's going to be this bottom left hand corner. So, and what this does is it opens up to the main 3D view. Now I like the 3D view for a lot of reasons. You don't have to work in the 3D view, you can work in the 2D view. For this case right now, I think I'll just work in 2D. So let's click the text button and let's open the text. So now I've already searched out the fonts just to make this quicker for us. I'm going to use an Acme font. It's a big fat wide font just like my old sign, and it will enable us to use the same bit throughout, so we don't have to change bits. So the size is 2. Right now I'm going to type in B-U-C-K apostrophe. Okay, so there you go right there. We'll move it over onto the board, and you'll notice that when you do a text, you have all these grab handles, which is kind of cool. You can stretch it out, you can flip it around backwards, you can do a whole bunch of things. And what we want is the rotating tool, because I'm going to turn this. If you go up to the top, just past this top one, and click or don't click, it'll show you that roundy arrow. And once you get that, you can right click and grab this so that you can twist it around. Now I am going to, I like kind of how that is right there. That's similar to what my logo looks like. So I think that I'm going to keep that. I'm going to keep with that right there. So now what I want to do is I want to come over here and click create, and that accepts what we've done. And now I want to be able to use the same font and create the word custom. So on our keyboard I'm going to hit Control C. Now what that's going to do is that's going to copy this particular text. Now you want to hit Control V, and Carveco does a wonderful thing. They put the copy on top of what you copied. So I can grab that and bring it over, and now I want to highlight it with the move symbol. That's what that cross symbol stands for, so you can move it. And I want to right click and edit this text block. That will give us all the nodes that we need for editing. It gives us the ability to change the font, scaling, spacing, all those things. It'll even let us do text on a curve, which is the most awesome thing. So again, this, if you notice my sign, it's straight in my logo. So I'm going to bring this over to straight as I can get it. Drop it down a little bit. I'm going to move it over just a tad. And then we're going to, when you get the little I symbol, that's your text symbol, so that you can right click or left click and drag it across. Now we're going to type in customs. Okay, so I want to watch the, I want to get this as centered as I can. So we, over here where the word Buc-ee's is, we've got roughly about 1.25 inches, and we're going to have about the same here. I want to just make sure that it somewhat lines up. So that's about it right there in a nutshell. You've just created the text. Now go over here to this tool menu, or I guess that's what you call it, tool settings for your text tool, and hit create. And now you have your lettering for your sign. So what I'm going to do is go over to the create the polyline, and I'm just going to create a little kind of relief here, like a broken board, and I'm just going to connect it. Okay, there we go. I think what I'm going to do now is I'm going to select all these reliefs or all these cutouts, and you can multiple select by hitting the shift key and selecting your other parts, and you notice they turn purple on you. And then I'm going to go up to Toolpath, and you'll notice the 2D Toolpaths open up here with different kinds of carvings, different ways to carve. So what we want to do here is I want to cut these clean through the board. So basically I want to create a pocket for this and clear them right out. So I'm going to use the clearance tool, and my start depth is going to be 0 because we're going to start at the top of the board, and the finish depth is going to be 0.875, which is 7/8 of an inch. It's exactly the thickness of the board. Now we'll go down here to the tool list and we'll come over here and let's do a 1/4 inch end mill, because I want to use the 1/4 inch end mill for the whole carve. Let's select that, and it gives you parameters here. I like to change the plunge rate to 50, and I just want it to go a little bit faster. This is pine that we're using, so I'm going to change it to 50. The step over is 1. The step down is nearly 1/8 of an inch. It's the 0.1 is about half the width of the tool, and this is about half the width of the tool deep every time it steps down, which is fine with me. I'm okay with that. Let's run with that. So we're going to create that pocket. There's no need for I'm going to change this to offset, and I'm going to do the conventional cut, and let's see, start board inside, and let's see, we've got our safe Z height is 1/2 an inch. I am going to change this to 0.05. I want it to just come above the work surface, and of course our home position, I'm going to make this 0, and now we have to set up the material thickness, which is going to be 0.875. Hopefully you can follow along here. We're going to start at the top of the piece and carve through to the bottom of the piece, and that's what this is. So now we have to name our tool path. So I'm going to name these sign cutouts. Caps lock on, so sign cutouts, and then we are going to calculate that. Now you notice that it created the tool path, and which is what we want, so we can close this now. Okay, so now what we're going to do is we're going to select our text and create the tool path for those. Shift key down, select the other text. Now go up to Toolpaths and go down here, and we are going to do the same thing, create a pocket, and the start depth is going to be 0. My finish depth is going to be 0.125. I kind of like the 1/8 of an inch. I'm going to add the same tool, the end mill, 1/4 inch. I'm going to make the same changes here. I'm going to do 50, and I'm going to leave the step down at 0.1. It's going to have a 0.025 finish cut, and we are going to do offset the same, conventional. It's going to be inside, and everything is the same here. Let's see, safe Z height, this has to change. This is going to be 0.5. We want it to be a little bit higher above than that, in case there's any imperfections in the wood. So Now material thickness is set up. Now we're going to call this letters. Actually, sign letters. And we're going to calculate that. There you go. It is that easy, folks. But, you know, to start out, this is a simple sign and it should go pretty quick. So what we're going to do now is I am going to, now that I've finished it all, I'm going to go over here to the Toolpath and click on, you can double click it and see your toolpaths, but click on the main word toolpaths, come down here, and we're going to save both of those toolpaths into one file. And we're going to save them both. We're going to save them. I use UGS as a post processor to send them the G code to the machine, so that's all selected, and that is all. I'm not sure if I need to select these or not, but I did anyway, and this will save this in my designated spot, so I'm just going to click save. I'm going to overwrite. I double click that for some reason, because if I do it again it'll give me the same thing. It's just clicking save. You think it doesn't save, but it does. So now we're going to cancel that. We've saved it. We can save this file. I'm going to probably just save it to my desktop and make it a sign. And that'll be done. Now we can close this file. And we're done. Okay, let's see. Going to want to open up Universal G-Code Sender. We want to open our file. Once UGS opens up, we will connect our mill. I always do that first. And I am going to open the file that I want to use. We're going to use a sign UGS. So one we just created. And everything looks good there. Our starting point's right here, so everything looks good. Let's see, now we want to get our touch probe in place, and that sits there. And we want to jog our mill to the front so that we can use the touch plate. There you go. 0 extents. We'll take that off so it doesn't get in the way. And set this speed here down to 3 and we'll go back. 3 jogs will come over. That's pretty good there. I like to manually turn it down because sometimes it's a pain to reset everything and then you forget and then your step over is different. So let's go one more this way. There we go. Okay, as long as you're in that circle, you know what I'm saying? As long as you're in the circle, the logo for Sienci Labs, you're good. No, don't forget to put your magnet on because that will ruin your day if you don't. And we're going to measure the outside corner first, or do them all 3 of them. As you can see, it does the center, or the Z height first, and the X. Now it is going to do back to 0. Then I could take this touch plate, stow it away, and put our dust boot back on. Set that down there where it's proper. And turn the vacuum on. And turn the mill on. And touch. Play. Okay, let's take this out. There we go. It didn't come out too bad. Because basically all I'm going to do is I'm going to take a Scotch-Brite pad and I'm going to get the burrs off of that. This board's already pretty smooth, so I'm going to grab a Scotch-Brite. Okay. Hey, look. My intent is to just leave the letters, okay? So what we're gonna do is let these dry, and then I'm gonna come back. I put the tape on so that I didn't have all this sanding to do. We just had a little sanding to do around the letters. But what it's gonna do is it's gonna blend in with my final finish. So you know, I just wanna get rid of the straight lines on it with the sandpaper. And then I think I'm going to accentuate the greens, kind of like what's in my logo, and we'll finish it up that way. Okay. I like the way that came out. Came out really good. Okay, now we're gonna do some things a little bit differently. I'm gonna do some, maybe a little bit of burning. The way that turned out gives it a little I like it. I like it. All right. Well, there you go, everybody. It's a lot different than my original sign. You know, I had a lot of ideas back in those days, and a lot of them have come true for me. They really have. And I'm going to proudly display this here in my shop. Hey, listen, if you want to turn your ideas into reality, go to cnc.com and order your long mill today. You'll be really happy you did. Hey, if you enjoyed watching, please click the like button and subscribe to our channel. We really appreciate your support. Until I see you guys again, be safe out there.